In a world that's always racing forward, sometimes we need to slow down and reconnect.
Connect genuinely, broaden your perspective, and share your passion.
Bona fide dialogues, where authenticity, creativity, and passion merge.
Welcome to Bona Fide Dialogues.
Thank you, Christina. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
Vadym Granovskiy is a quality-focused coffee entrepreneur, United Kingdom cezve 𝒞𝓃𝓃𝓃𝓃 Championship winner, World Championship finalist, TEDx speaker, and founder of Coffee in Action. Coffee in Action is now solely focused on supporting the Ukrainian army. Vadym has made it his mission to bring high-quality coffee to Ukraine's armed forces, establishing a charity fund, the 𝒷𝓇𝓃𝓃𝓃𝓃, which supplies coffee and brewing equipment. Vadym channels his passion through the 𝒷𝓇𝓃𝓃𝓃, using coffee diplomacy to share Ukraine's story and spirit with the world. I use coffee to talk to the world. Vadym Granovskiy. Read Vadym's full bio in this video description.
I would like to start this dialogue with reading a quote about coffee. Coffee drinking is an art of slowing down just enough to notice life's texture, the warmth of the cup, the gentle stream of thought, the comfort of presence, and the quiet connection to yourself and others. It sounds wonderful, but nowadays, we don't really slow down to drink coffee. Many of us are addicted to coffee. Many of us are doing it as a habit every morning on the run. So how do we slow down? How do we enjoy coffee consciously? I know this is something you're passionate about.
A very complex question. We're gonna talk some serious subjects if you want to explore it, but you're right. That quote comes from a different era, really. Modern world is too fast. Modern food industry it's just beyond food. It's not about food anymore. People, particularly people from big, let's call them urban crowd, people want everything fast. They want to consume on the go. That applies to coffee, that even applies to food. So I think deep down it's pretty bad. It's pretty wrong. People don't cook anymore. They buy meals. They go to restaurants or they order takeaways. So I think somewhere along the route we made a wrong turn in terms of our relationship with food and with coffee. Considering the fact that we drink coffee, most of people on this planet drink coffee a few times a day. I think coffee deserves more respect and more attention. But again, it can be your friend. It can be a tool to greatly enhance your life, improve your physical performance, cognitive performance. Coffee can be your friend. In the same time, coffee can be your enemy if you do not understand the culture of enjoying coffee and consuming coffee. Same as with alcohol. You can enjoy a glass of wine. It will bring so many nice, it will create so many nice memories. But once you go beyond second glass, many great sommeliers say this, there are no fine wines after the second glass. So once you go beyond that limit, you actually damaging your health and probably your reputation. So I think we have to remember the roots of coffee. It comes from Ethiopia, but it was a modern coffee culture was created by Sufi monks in Yemen. And the way they used to consume coffee, it was for clarity, for alertness, for being able not to sleep during this all-night prayers. And I think clarity is probably the main word that we'll use to describe coffee. You can enhance your life. You can enjoy the flavors, but you really have to consume coffee consciously. It's a sensual experience. There are so many flavors, aromas, textures. But again, the way we moved with creating modern coffee culture, it's served to you at the petrol station or fast food chain in a huge disposable cups. Normally, it's laced with sugar and milk, and sort of industrially produced coffee is not coffee anymore. This is just a
what we call coffee now, it's not even coffee, right? Most of the time. There's some coffee, right?
Unfortunately, you're absolutely right. It's a cocktail, industrially produced drinkable, hardly drinkable substance, but modern people conditioned to like it and rely on it.
Yes, I think it's important to talk about it because all these drinks, like you said, have so much sugar and they're bad for you. But actual coffee is good for you.
Well, science would back my statement that consuming black coffee, high quality coffee, would actually benefit your health. This is a statement backed by science. But then the deception lies within the name. So what I call coffee is normally an espresso or filter coffee. Mainly I drink black coffee. I like mixed coffee with fruit juices. We're gonna talk about this later because I think it's pretty exciting subject. Cappuccino, any flat white or any milk-based coffee can be a celebration of every sip, really, a synergy of good milk, like perhaps raw milk or farmer's milk, a synergy of coffee and beautifully textured milk is it creates a drink you really enjoy. But then when we go beyond these recipes and we enter this territory of modern drinks from fast food chains with sugar, syrups, and many other ultra-processed ingredients. This is not coffee anymore, even though it's called coffee, but I think it should not. It's a cocktail, and people have to be aware what they consume. And again, I've done consulting in the past for biggest names in the industry, including McDonald's Ukraine. And I know what's behind it. And I think people deserve to know the truth that coffee, the way it was originally conceived of the culture, can be your friend. Very often, it can be your enemy. We are what we consume. So if you keep drinking that coffee with sugar and syrups and many other ingredients which are considered normal, you will damage your health, and eventually you will have to give up coffee purely because you will accumulate the damage of consuming harmful ingredients.
And I wanted to mention that you're highly qualified to make those statements. You are the award winner of some championship in United Kingdom, coffee championship. I'm sure most people didn't even hear about this type of competition. So if you could just talk a little bit about them.
It's true.
Why did you decide to enter? What motivated you?
It's true that there's like a hidden dimension of coffee championships and related events, which do not really exist for an average person. But I think that same applies to any, let's say, professional sport or industry. People may be aware of biggest championships, football and mixed martial arts, etc. But then you go beyond that, and there are so many different sports existing and creating stars, champions, but it's not mainstream. So coffee would be one of those things. There are organizations like, for instance, Specialty Coffee Association. There are championships which run national championships, world championships. So basically the best baristas, best coffee makers, best roasters, and many other coffee professionals compete every year at national level and international level. So this is the entire industry and not visible to an average consumer. I have been competing for a number of years, representing Ukraine, representing United Kingdom, two of the countries I share my life between. And I did manage to achieve some respectable results, including winning UK Championship, twice reaching World Cup finals. So there is an experience of being a creative coffee professional. But lately I have been also investigating many other aspects of coffee culture through sort of academic approach. So I do talk about these subjects often, relying on facts, relying on science, relying on my own practical experience, and also the multitude, the complexity of being connected to many coffee professionals from all over the world, many food professionals, food writers, chefs, many other people involved in creating what we consume, the foods and drinks.
It seems like an art. Then you talk about championships, you bring it to the different level. I think many of us would stop and think twice. Okay, I need to take my coffee seriously.
I think art would be a good description of art craftsmanship. When you do something for a long time, and I think it applies to any industry, eventually you excel, you reach a certain level, national, international level. Eventually, some of us become the best in the world. So coffee is no different. When you absorb the knowledge, when you perfect your skills, eventually you become among the best in the world, and that gives you a chance to change the world. And this is why I entered the championships. I did want to change the world, and I wanted to resurrect this brewing method called cezve, which is widely referred to as Turkish coffee.
Let's stop here for a moment and just to explain to everybody what it is, because I'm sure many people in the US don't know about cezve.
Many people do, because it's popular within certain communities. But if you go back to the roots, we have to go back to Sufi monks, Yemen, and we have to go back to Ottoman Empire. We're talking 15th, 16th century, when this modern culture of consuming coffee was conceived. And on that stage, coffee trees were grown only in Ethiopia and Yemen. And we didn't even know that there is coffee in Ethiopia. All the coffee were bought through Mocha, the ports in Yemen. No other countries were growing and trading coffee. Eventually, it spread all over the world, and we do have, I think, way more than 40 countries now growing coffee. But modern coffee culture was consumed in Ottoman Empire.
Using cezve.
Modern coffee culture was conceived in Ottoman Empire. This is where cezve was born, created by the cook of Suleiman the Magnificent. We are talking about 16th century. And interestingly, there is a Ukrainian lady involved as well, the wife of Suleiman the Magnificent. We know her as Roxolana. She was a Ukrainian captured by Crimean Tatars, and eventually she became a legal wife of Suleiman the Magnificent, and she changed not only the coffee culture, because she was the one who introduced consuming sweets with coffee to balance out the bitterness of coffee, but she also changed the destiny of Ottoman Empire. So this brewing method is now called Turkish coffee, widely, but it's popular in many other countries who used to be under influence of Ottomans. And on that stage, Ottoman Empire was the most powerful empire of a particular period, controlling vast lands all over the world. So if you go to Eastern Europe, if you go to Balkans, Middle East, you will find this brewing method still popular. It's still the most popular home brewing method in Ukraine. In Ukraine, 𝒌𝓴ve, this copper pot for making coffee, this vessel, is called 𝒞𝓃𝓃𝓃𝓒, a clear reference to Turks. But in many other countries as well, to London, coffee came through Ottomans, as most of other European countries. So to summarize, 𝒌𝓴ve is a brewing method where a copper pot is used to brew coffee.
So
And
𝒌𝓴ve and 𝒞𝓃𝓃 is the same thing, right?
Exactly. It's exactly the same thing. There are some other names. You can call it ibrik, and in many countries it has own name, but it stays the same. The design of 𝒌𝓴ve hasn't changed for 500 years. And I think it's still one of the very honest, very simple coffee brewing methods, because modern coffee industry has so much complexity, machines, espresso machines, grinders, so many ways to complicate a relatively simple process of of extracting flavors from coffee beans, using water, hot water. So 𝒌𝓴ve is still that very simple brewing method which anyone can master.
Yeah, my dad lives in Ukraine, and every time that I visit him, he makes coffee using 𝒞𝓃𝓃. It's so delicious. It's something is very
I'm
magical
glad.
about it.
I'm glad there is something very real, very rooted about this brewing method. And what you mentioned, that your dad loves this coffee, 𝒌𝓴ve or 𝒞𝓃𝓃 actually unites so many generations of coffee connoisseurs, coffee lovers in Ukraine. And we go back to 17th century when Ukraine was one of the first countries in Europe to embrace coffee culture. We had very close connection to Ottoman Empire, and that explains why. But Ukraine embraced that culture, changed it, localized it, shall I say, localized it. And I think coffee has always been part of Ukrainian identity.
And there's a very good TEDx talk with you talking about the history of coffee. I think it's very interesting to learn more about that.
Thank you. I think my TED talk was one of those defining moments when I realized that what I know can change lives, which is basically an idea behind TED. I spoke about the way coffee influenced European society and the United Kingdom in particularly, and basically what we consume define us, including coffee. But if you look into the historical facts, I think coffee was the catalyst for many good things which happens to our society, and coffee is still the force driving us. Imagine there is no coffee. Millions of people would not function.
That's true.
And again, I believe that coffee is a lifestyle intervention if you want to improve your life. It comes with a set of rules. It comes with a set of knowledge, as anything. And I was trying to prove through my TED talk that not only you choose coffee, you choose food, you choose what to read, what to listen, what to watch. You choose people you interact with, and that defines who you are. Whatever we consume defines us. And also, again, cross-pollination. I think when you carefully choose people among those you want to leave, if you have that luxury, it brings the best out of you. And that connection, I call it cross-pollination. If you interact with the right people, they will make you a better person. In return, you will help them to get knowledge, or you will improve their lives by the knowledge you can share. So that was the subject I wanted to explore through my TED Talk, and it was the very beginning of my sort of professional journey. But next 10 years proved me right. You have to carefully choose what you consume, including coffee.
Yeah, I really like this thought, this idea that you're promoting, that you have to be conscious about everything, not only what type of coffee you drink, but the people you're communicating with, the information you're consuming. Everything is important. Just being conscious, being in the moment, being present, right?
Making a choice as well. Again, our choices define us in many ways, many different ways. So yes, consciously choose and consciously reject. It's sort of the sacred balance of our lives. For me, coffee.
Consciously reject.
Coffee is a good example. This is my way to share what I know and my love and my passion with people.
Yeah, and you have a company, right? And maybe you can talk a little bit about your business.
I have a coffee company in UK with in Ukraine as well. We have achieved some remarkable results in the past. I had an amazing coffee shop in Kiev, opened in 2016. For many years, we were #1 among the coffee shops in Kiev on TripAdvisor. We were award winning specialty coffee shop, very historical district in Kiev, in Podil. And apart from that, the business was about roasting. The business was about education. We are talking about coffee education, and the business was about events. We worked with biggest names in the industry, biggest companies, corporate events, cultural events. I'll give a few examples just to put things into perspective. For 6 years, we were serving coffee at Lviv Jazz Fest, Leopolis Jazz Fest. It's called, and this is probably the best music festival in Ukraine. Or we were working with the likes of Visa, MasterCard, Rolls-Royce, Dell, Lexus, and you name it, big companies who wanted something special, who wanted passion, craftsmanship, knowledge. We were invited to make coffee at Ukraine House, Davos, and World Economic Forum. So again, that was my way of showcasing Ukrainian culture, Ukrainian creativity, and craftsmanship through coffee. This is what I do now. The company in Ukraine exists to mainly focus on charity project. Now we supply coffee to Ukrainian armed forces as a charity initiative, but mainly I'm in UK now, and we do the same. We do events, a lot of corporate events where we talk about Ukraine through coffee, and we try to make the difference by doing what I call cultural diplomacy, which I believe soft power is best of them all. If I can change someone's mind by using my talent, I will do my best. So events and functions, yes, that's mainly what we do now. We do roasting, we supply businesses. I do a lot of workshops and experiences, I call them, tastings, talks, lectures, visiting likes of Google or Oxford, Cambridge University. So this is, again, cultural diplomacy, flash events, flash business and mission.
You know, it feels like in the modern world, we're losing this term diplomacy completely. You know, there's so many conflicts all over the world. I really love that you're talking about cultural diplomacy. Maybe this is the way for us to turn around, you know, to bring back this diplomacy, then we can communicate.
I think you identified the probably the main problem of the modern world. We have lost skills to find win-win situations or to avoid conflicts. Modern diplomacy, exemplified by some of the current leaders, let me put it diplomatically this way, modern diplomacy is not sophisticated, is not it's not a soft power anymore. It takes us into the very dangerous territory of hard power.
Absolutely.
And you can't win. Right now there are so many powerful sides, and we as a civilization created so many weapons which can easily terminate life on this planet. So I don't think we understand entirely what is at stake, and we keep playing these games or at the very top level. So maybe we need more female leaders. Maybe we need more female leaders. I think occasionally when I look at where male leadership takes us, the answer is pretty simple. We were heading for war, and I think it's what I think the Third World War is happening right now as we speak. And we still have a chance to diffuse it, perhaps de-escalate and find a solution to stop this. But if we don't do this, it's scary to analyze what can happen next.
Yes, we need more dialogues. We need more human connection in the world, because it feels like we're all disconnected. We're all disconnected. And this is a beautiful way you're talking about cultural diplomacy. I really love it. I'm glad we're talking about this.
Thank you. Thank you. I think we do need connection. We do need sincere dialogues. We need to share a table. We need to consume food together. We need to drink coffee together. We need to share our national cuisine. Many countries can offer so much to the world. We need to explore each other through cultures, through food, through music. We do. We will understand each other better. As I mentioned before, I think soft power is best of them all. If you have a chance to influence decisions using diplomatic skills or solving problems using diplomatic skills, I think we should do whatever it takes to keep our world that way, connecting, understanding each other, sharing a glass of wine, a cup of coffee, or a nice meal.
I wanted to ask you about your signature drink.
Where do I start? Let's start in Kiev. 10 years ago, well, almost, I had created a new recipe, pretty bold recipe, because I needed the color. I needed deep red color to illustrate a car. I was approached by a company from Japan, a premium car brand called Lexus. They had a presentation in Kiev. And they wanted me to serve coffee at this presentation. They were launching 3 new Lexus models. And when I had the brief from the creative agency, I suggested something entirely different. I said, well, what if we serve coffee, but we will only have 3 new drinks? I will create 3 drinks. Each of those drinks will illustrate a particular car. So that's how Flat Red, the drink I created, was born. I needed a color to illustrate a beautiful leisure interior of a crossover, a new crossover, hybrid crossover by Lexus, white with red interior. And I wanted to tickle someone's brain by using a name. So we all know that there is a drink called Flat White. So the car was white, red interior. I wanted to take this name, Flat White, take away white and add red. As soon as someone says flat, subconsciously expect flat white, but what you get is flat red. Same with that car. You look at this, it's a beautiful dynamic white crossover. Then you open the door, you sit inside, and it's red. So the idea was to use this bright red drink to illustrate this particular car. And we nailed the color precisely using pomegranate juice. It took a few days of experimenting with ingredients, techniques. Eventually, we got this visually beautiful drink. And then we discovered this entirely new dimension of taste, complexity, sweetness. I mean, imagine coffee, pomegranate juice, and a dash of orange juice, freshly squeezed juices, beautiful aromatics, beautiful color, complex taste. So that drink was a big success on that particular event. We added it to the menu, and within a few years, it became our destination drink. People were coming from all over the country, and then from different countries to taste it. And they were leaving reviews on TripAdvisor and other social media. And eventually, as I mentioned earlier, we reached #1 on TripAdvisor, which helped to generate such a good traffic of people who were visiting Kiev and were looking for something local to try. And then they would Google it, or they would go to TripAdvisor, and they will find this small coffee shop in Podil serving something unique. So I think Flat Red became a cultural diplomacy tool on that stage already. But we had some really exciting ideas. We had collaborations with craft brewery. We created a beer version of Flat Red. We did collaborate with some fashion brands. I became the advertising campaign of Lexus in Ukraine, and a brand ambassador. The advertising campaign was called Ideal Taste. So we created a movement. We created a cultural phenomenon. On that stage, it was still local. It was still Ukraine, Kiev, Ukraine. But then eventually, in the modern world, because of social media, because of transparency, any exciting ideas, any exciting recipes, they spread. And I realized that every now and then I would get this report by Google that someone in Japan, or someone in China, or someone in Vietnam used this expression flat red, or someone would upload a video making flat red at home. So I realized it's happening. And there was actually an idea on that stage that I want this drink to become global. I want this drink with Ukrainian soul become a worldwide success. So I registered a trademark. The Flat Red name is a trademark, and it belongs to me. But the recipe is open, and anyone in the world can make it, can serve it in a coffee shop if they want.
I was about to ask you if the recipe is a secret, or if you could share it with our listeners.
The recipe is open. It's a relatively simple recipe. We mix espresso with freshly squeezed pomegranate and orange juice. The juices are steamed in the same way you steam milk when you make cappuccino or flat white. There is a video workshop. I can send it to you so we can link it to this episode, and perhaps people can try it at home. But all that sort of excitement of creating something came to the end when the invasion happened. And I was really proud of the way Flat Red was progressing, because if you allow me, I'll sort of give a very short story about the fundamental flaw of our industry, but it applies to some other industries as well. So we spoke about championships earlier. Part of the performance when you compete at these championships, part of the performance, you have to create a signature drink. You have to create something, a new recipe, and you have to tell the story. You have to choose ingredients, techniques, ideas, and you have to create a drink which showcases your skills, your hospitality skills, craftsmanship. So every year, top baristas at particular country and then at international level, and I think by now we have 50 plus countries competing on these championships. Every top professional every year creates a new signature drink. The tragedy of our industry that most of the drinks are tasted by friends, judges, maybe volunteers at the championships, and then most of them disappear for many reasons. But you don't really find new recipes in the menu very often. So anywhere you go in the world, you are at risk to see the same or quite similar menu. So I was really proud that something created in Ukraine, a quite different, very bold recipe, full of life, full of color, deeply symbolic. I'm going to talk later about this. Suddenly this recipe is gaining international recognition.
You know, I think it's a very good point that you just mentioned. It's very sad that so many new, unique, amazing drinks are being created, right, during those competitions, and they don't make it to us, consumers.
I would say even more. The harsh reality is obviously the mainstream commercial brands. They don't want anything new, or if they do, like Starbucks, they do create recipes, but obviously those recipes don't necessarily reflect a country or a person or a story. It's a commercially produced, scientifically produced recipe which normally is created to make money. Not to tell a story, not to change the world, not to get the important message across. It is to make money. And if you look into different cultures and different coffee cultures across the world, there are so many new flavors, new ingredients, new stories, new recipes to be discovered. Even what I do by fusing coffee with fruit juices. It creates an entirely new dimension in terms of flavors. Flat Red is probably world's healthiest coffee. If you analyze the nutritional density and the ingredients behind it, again, we have black coffee, espresso, we have freshly squeezed pomegranate juice, which is truthfully a superfood, and we have a little bit of orange juice. So the complexity and nutritional value of this drink is tremendous.
Pomegranates are very good for your health, right? Pomegranates.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They're full of antioxidants. They're full of micro and micronutrients which benefit your health. They truly pomegranates are truly a superfood, but they also
support your brain function. It's good for your immunity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They also have this multi-layered cultural significance in many, many countries. And even if you look into Ukraine, what I'm going to say now is going to surprise you, but pomegranates are very popular in Ukraine. We do grow them, not commercially, but they are very popular in particular regions, including Mykolaiv and Odessa. And also, if you look into history, 17th century, again, there is this book, a world famous book by someone we know as Paul of Aleppo, a Syrian traveler who visited Ukraine in 17th century. His father was Patriarch Macarius. So the book is called Travels of Macarius. It's a world famous book with valuable eyewitness facts about Ukraine, 17th century. They met with Bogdan Khmelnytsky, by the way, the military leader who conceived modern Ukrainian government Cossack state, Hetmanshina. They met with him and they brought a present to him, presents, diplomacy, soft power, including coffee beans. So this is a sort of a well-established historical fact that Bogdan Khmelnytsky, 17th century, in 1654, he is known to the world as a coffee lover, and there is the reason why. But coming back to pomegranates,
and you have a little pomegranate right here with you, right?
Yes, it's a present from a charity fund from Lviv, Fierce Calm. They help wounded soldiers and civilians to recover, rehabilitate through yoga, breathing exercise, meditation. They're doing a very, very good job. Again, soft power, which helps to heal. So this Syrian traveler, Paul of Aleppo, compared Ukraine to a pomegranate orchard, because what he saw was a beautifully cultivated and sophisticated country. So that expression, a pomegranate orchard or country like a pomegranate, stuck with us. We have it in our literature, in some songs, some jokes, and I mean, it's part of the culture. And pomegranate is very popular. But in terms of drink, when we combine black coffee with red pomegranate juice, we also achieve this deep symbolism, because red and black is Ukrainian battle flag, which essentially means spilling your blood, protecting your land. And it's internationally recognized colors, because if you look into remembrance poppies, widely used in Western culture as a memory of countless lives lost in countless wars. So it's the same colors, but for Ukraine, it goes deep to 12th century, red and black. You can see it on embroidery patterns. You can see it in songs. Червоне то любов, чорне то печаль. If red is for love and black is for sorrow, and many, many other examples. So that's why this drink achieved this cultural significance and became a very symbolic way to carry Ukrainian culture to this complex, vast world.
And could you please tell us about the Coffee Care initiative?
It's a very simple grassroots idea born in the very beginning of the war, since March 2022, when many of my friends and guests of my coffee shops and clients started to request coffee support to the military units they were serving. And again, you are based in US. American Army has always relied on coffee. And if you look into the history, from the Boston Tea Party to the modern days, coffee is the drink of choice for US and for US military. But I think it applies to any army. Armies march on stomachs, but coffee is needed to stay alert, to boost your cognitive performance, physical performance. Coffee is the drink of choice for people fighting in a very extreme conditions. So I knew that this is where my superpower is, and I started to gather the infrastructure to send this coffee packages to as many military units as I could. We started to develop new projects. We call it military grade coffee. There are some really clever, practical solutions how you can consume coffee. And I mean, not instant coffee, the real coffee, how you can brew it and consume it in a very extreme conditions, literally with no access to anything. But we have managed to create a few products where you can have a decent cup of coffee anywhere, not only boosting your physical performance, staying alert. Coffee is a ritual, and it unites people. It creates at least a few minutes of peace among very hostile environments. So I've realized that what we do uh, on multiple levels helps soldiers, combat medics, military capellans, even civilians, displaced civilians. So it helps, but also it changes their lives. It makes their life better. So this is something we've been doing for, well, 3 years, and it's fundraising is done here in UK mainly. We buy green coffee in Ukraine, we roast it, we grind it, we package it, and we ship it to the front line.
No, thank you for doing that. I can see how special it can be for soldiers. You know, like you said, taking that little moment of peace.
I agree. I think, well, I have so many feedback or reviews or videos or text. There's a hashtag, Coffee Care Project. If you sort of Google or just use online any social media under this hashtag Coffee Care Project, you will find a lot of pictures, videos from soldiers or medics about this project. There's also media coverage, but again, it's unless you're really interested, this is something important to me, important to many other people, but it's still a pretty small grassroots independent charity project, which became a mission for me and some of my colleagues.
And if anybody wants to help and be a part of it, is there a place where they can go? And
you can go to coffeeinaction.com, which is the website. You can buy some coffee for us. You can buy some brewing gear for us. You can donate. Any kind of support is appreciated. And again, I think the best way to help is to help any Ukrainian business. So if listeners want to understand Ukraine better, experience Ukraine through Ukrainian products, food, fashion brands, etc., support Ukrainian brands, help Ukrainian economy. Ukraine has so much to offer. It's a global asset, and I hope people across the world realize that and will help us to save Ukraine.
To save Ukraine. That's right. The war has been going on for almost 4 years now, and there's not much attention to what's going on in Ukraine right now. So I don't want people to forget that we have an active war going on, and every single day there are people dying. And I was looking at your Instagram account, and I saw that you have a personal connection with this center, Superhumans Center. And I was looking at their Instagram page, and I was heartbroken. It's so hard to see how much people are suffering and what they're going through. These young, beautiful people have to pay this price for in this situation. I can't find the right words because this is just something you feel and it's hard to talk about it. But could you please tell us a little bit more about this center and what you know? Just share some stories, because people think about war on the global level, but I feel like we need to get down to individuals, to these individual stories, so people can understand the price Ukraine pays in this war. This beautiful young people.
it's a very fragile subject to discuss, and I don't think anyone will understand unless it happens to you or to people you love. So the pain and the suffering which Ukraine experiences every day is largely ignored now. And again, this is human nature, and I understand that people are tired of this subject and tired of Ukraine. They want to get back to normal lives, but I don't think we are ever going to normal lives. Not our generation, and that's assuming that this war will be stopped, because there is an alternative way it can progress. It can just destroy entire planets. So Superhumans is project very close to my heart, because what they do is nothing short of amazing. They work with hundreds, thousands of wounded soldiers and civilians, helping them to regain mobility, because they focus on amputations. They focus on people who lost limbs, and the system behind it, it's a state-of-the-art center in Lviv, and there are so many stories to be told, and I think you're right in saying that personal story, someone's life, can serve as a very good example of what happens in Ukraine and the price people pay for this war. And that may not only generate attention, it will bring empathy, it will bring understanding, it will bring help. And we've done it many times in UK, for instance. We were using sadly creative means to get people to help us. 2 years ago, for instance, we brought a shuttered ambulance to UK, and we displayed it during the show. There was this trade show called Emergency Show. So this shuttered ambulance was hit by a Russian mine close to Kharkiv, and it's heavily damaged, and we displayed it there so people would come and talk. This shuttered ambulance would become an eye stopper. People would leave everything, and they would come and look at it, and they would talk to us. We would engage with them, and I described it as a very painful experience. I called it a stand-up tragedy, as an opposite to stand-up comedy, where you entertain people and make people laugh. In our case, because of the questions like how many people died in this ambulance, for instance, or what is happening in Ukraine now. So through this shuttered ambulance symbolizing Ukraine, we were able to connect to people, tell the story, treat them with a nice coffee, and eventually they would not only tell us words of support, they will donate. So coming back to Superhumans, this project is amazing. I know people who conceived it and who run it and who support it. And not only they give injured people a chance to get back to normal life with this highly sophisticated state-of-the-art artificial limbs, they also prepare our society, and not only Ukrainian society, but our society in general, the world, to the price we pay for wars. It's not only people who are killed. It's generations who pay the price for this war after they're injured, and not only physically injured, but people who damaged heavily psychologically. And as a society in Ukraine, we have to understand this and we have to be ready. But also this experience, unfortunately, is to be exported to other countries, because I don't see wars stopping in other countries. So Ukraine will become probably the source of security world security experience, to world diplomacy, and also the medical side of this war infrastructure, including healing people who were injured, saving their lives, changing their lives, giving them a chance to get back to peaceful life. I think Superhumans is one of the first to enter this very big challenge, this territory, but there are many others, and it gives me a sense of fulfillment when I'm able to connect with some of the soldiers who are back to normal life. They compete in different sports, for instance, or they can have the family life back. They can walk. They can look after themselves, because there are so many veterans who abandoned by the government and by society after the war. So this is a very, again, fragile subject to discuss. But I think Superhumans, beginning with the idea and the name and the impact, it's certainly an impact project. It changes our society and makes us better people.
Yes, it's a very difficult subject to discuss, and it's definitely important to talk about it. And seeing these people who are definitely superhumans, I see all these pictures of them smiling and being happy because they're alive, so much lost, but the transformation they went through this war and the impact it made on their lives emotionally, physically. I absolutely agree with you. It's going to take generations to recover from all
Christina,
of
I think
it.
most of these people went through a very deep spiritual experience, and they still have desire to live fully. And I think not only they are able to do this, they will inspire many others. I think we in the Western world, and again, I've been in UK for long enough to qualify for a British passport. I'm a British citizen, and culturally as well. Like, part of my identity is British, and I know what I'm talking about when I say that UK and many other Western countries, including US, became these consumers of safety. We think that everything will be fine. No one will come, and no one will destroy a house, kill our relatives, rape our wives. We think that we'll be fine. Well, we see the example of a European country being invaded. It can happen to anyone. So we, as a society, became pretty weak in the Western world, and many people suffer in living in this, what they think, hostile environment, paying the bills, being in time for work, and many other pretty normal things. And then when you compare this to what Ukrainian soldiers went through, what happened to their bodies, what happened to their souls, what happened to their lives, and then they are able to get back to normal life, I think that will not only inspire many people, it will stop many people from being miserable. It will stop many people from killing themselves. As a society shows this resilience, which hopefully inspires many people and perhaps saves many lives.
Yeah, the government needs to provide support to so many people. Like you said, there are many lives lost, there are many families that lost their loved ones, but there are so many veterans, like you said, that need some support in their lives.
It's true. It's true, and
finding jobs, right? And just from financial, practical point of view, I can only imagine the problems they're facing in their lives.
the government, society, we have to face the realities of hopefully post war world, and we probably have an obligation, every single of us have an obligation to create a supportive environment for all these people. And I'm very passionate about this, and I have this idea of opening a healing coffee shop, as I call it. Let's imagine a cross between a garden and a coffee shop, where an access is very easy. It's adapted for people who might need some special needs. So that's something I really want to do on the right stage. But again, I think every single one of us has an obligation to create this healing, supportive environment for people who put their lives on the line, protecting Ukraine and again protecting the Western way of life, because Ukraine is a frontier. If that side, and we are talking about some countries, not just Russia, some other countries, if they win, I think we can say bye to Western way of life with all our values and all our achievements. And I think that will be a tragedy for humanity.
I just want to mention one more time that one more day our politicians don't come to some sort of peace deal, to some sort of agreement, more and more lives are lost and more people are suffering. I was wondering if there's any personal story if you could share with us.
I can share some personal stories. Some of them are uplifting, some of them are tragic. But again, I would love to share a story which both uplifting and in a way sad, but again, it's heavily connected to coffee. Part of the project, 𝒞𝓃𝓃𝓃𝓃 project, we supply brewing vessels, cezves, to soldiers, and they developed for heavy duty use. They are produced from very thick copper, no welding. It's a sort of pretty unique technique where you have this tough heritage product which will last a lifetime. The handle is made from heat-treated carbon steel. So it's a tough military grade coffee brewing pot supplied to military units through our project. And one day I get a message from one of the guys, this Ukrainian soldier who owns that cezve, and he said, "Sad news. Our place was hit by a missile. Everyone is alive, but I think the cezve is lost. I suspect that it was hit directly, so we couldn't find it." And I told him not to worry. The main thing, your life, we'll get you a new one. 2 days later, he sent me a few pictures. They came back to that place and they spent hours digging. They found it. So they found it that the handle was blown away. It was hit by a fragment of the mine, and you could see the mark. So I said, well, send it to us. We will restore it. So we restored it. I'll send you pictures and let's see, maybe there's a chance to include it, because that story illustrates Ukraine pretty well, actually. So we got this back, we restored it, we put the new handle. The only thing he asks, please do not touch that mark where the fragment hits. I want that mark as a memory. So we restored the cezve, and we met with the guy and gave it back to him. And now I still receive this picture from him where they brew this coffee with his military unit, and that cezve, that damaged cezve, keeps brewing coffee. I'll send you the pictures. Even 2 or 3 of those pictures will illustrate my story pretty well. But that story is quite symbolic for me, that they came back, risking their lives to get that cezve back. That cezve was so well made that it withstood the direct hit by a fragment of the mine, and I love this sort of connection between myself, them, people who grow the coffee, because this story is now shared with the coffee farmers who supply coffee. It's shared with volunteers who help us to deliver. So it's a network of people connected by a simple idea.
I usually ask my video podcast guests about kindness. What does kindness mean to you, Vadim?
I've been thinking about this question since I read your email with a list of questions, and I don't have an answer. I don't think there is a single answer. I think the answer could be very dynamic, and decision I made, I'll just, depending on how our conversation will go, I will answer based on this particular moment. So kindness, what I feel right now, how I would describe, I think kindness is understanding other people. You can find different words in different languages. Particularly, I'll give you an example of sort of Japanese approach to defining particular aspects of our lives. And what I've realized that the way the Japanese brain works is very different. We would need maybe a few sentences to describe something, and they would create one word, which would give a very sharp description of this long way of saying in let's say in Ukrainian or English. So I think kindness is one of those words which everyone has to answer many times during their lives. And kindness can mean anything, but based on my experience today during our conversation and during my life, understanding the complexity, understanding the reality, understanding the other human being is kindness. And I don't think if you understand entirely, if you understand with your heart, I don't think you'll be capable of doing bad things. So kindness is understanding and not doing bad things. That would be a very complex answer to your question, but it's very sincere at this present moment.
I think it's beautiful, and it's definitely relates to your mission, because how do we even understand each other unless we communicate, right? Unless we connect. And coffee, in your situation, is a great tool to connect.
Thank you. I think it is. I mean, there is something very powerful about connecting what you create. Art, music, books, most of achievements by our culture, by our civilization, we share what we create, and that's not to impress. That's basically to connect. I think that behind all this is this longing for connection. So yes, I think coffee serves that purpose and became my sort of personal mission to connect cultures, people. Yeah, that would be a very good description.
I'll try to make flat rat at home, but I'm sure it's not going to be as good as you can do it.
I hope one day I will be able to serve you a flat rat, or perhaps there will be a place where you can taste it. But actually, it's pretty simple to make at home, this home version of flat rat. I'll send you a link to a video workshop. Please share with your viewers.
Absolutely.
And hopefully we will make them happy. We will bring them new flavors and ideas.
Yeah. So make yourself some nice coffee enjoy the process of making coffee, enjoy the process of drinking coffee, and maybe share it with the loved one or somebody else, right?
Coffee definitely tastes better when shared. I used this line during my championship performance and I stand by it. Coffee tastes much better when shared.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time, and I hope we can connect again.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for an invitation and a chance to share my story, my feelings. I do hope we will meet and share a cup of coffee.
And hopefully Red Flat will make it to the United States.
It will. I know it will. Thank you, Christina.
I know too. Thank you.